Es no tāda perspektīvas.
Are we ready? Yeah?
Are we ready?
Are we ready? So, hello and welcome, and I want to welcome you to a solid approach to service design. Our wonderful team, two main men here, right next to me, Karlis and myself, Jakobs. But Karli, solid, what is it?
Solid is an elementary app. All that it does is it tracks what is in your household, what you need to do, and it uses predictive analytics in order to save you time from all of the planning and hassle. You will know with complete oversight with what needs to be done and when. And this way, visibility is increased between you and your partner for what has been done, thus improving your relationship.
Okay. So, the content of this presentation, firstly introduction and small theory about it, the project in details, project summary, and lastly our reflection of this course. On theory side, our theory was, we provided our theory from these three books. Firstly, this yellow one, the Service Design Bible, next one, Pakalpojumu Designs, and lastly, Mapping Experiences. All three of those helped us to understand the future of this presentation in theory-wise. And now we're going to show you the practical work. Yeah, Karli?
Right, so for context, we are currently trying to validate our product. And to validate your product, first you need a hypothesis, which we did in developing by experimenting. And we did some data validation as well, but it was not good enough. Then you deploy a test version in order to validate your hypothesis in practice. After that, you solicit feedback. You improve your product based on the feedback, and you do this iteratively. Currently, we are there, between the hypothesis and the test version, in the area where we need to empathize with the user, identify key opportunities and pain points. This we will talk about later with the service journey or the user journey. Outline hypothetical user interaction with the service, which we will be later doing with the service blueprint, and create a prototype based on learnings, which we will be doing immediately after this class. So the key features and user benefits are elementary. First, by centralizing planning within households, facilitating simple and deep record keeping, increasing visibility of complete chores, and leveraging predictive analytics, we can save time from all this planning so that you can do the things that matter most to you within the short amount of time you have on this earth, and to improve your relationships so that people have a greater appreciation for what you have actually done. People can actually see your contribution to your relationship. Now, the impact we hope to have is that across as many families as possible and as many cohabiting partners as possible, we can have a shift towards time spent meaningfully with your families, with your children, together, spending time doing things you love, leading to an increase in motivation and drive and purpose along the general population, and we hope to do this along the Western world. And now onto the project itself, the practical part that we have just done. We have our main KPI was to make 2 to 3 customer personae, and we did exactly that. 3 archetypes for within the family, a father, a mother, and Guido Jr., a son. And our deliverable is also a very short list, but took us quite a while. A presentation, which you're seeing now, and to generate the beginning of the design, which was the stakeholder map, 2 to 3 user personae, and the user or service journey. And now onto the stakeholder map.
I'm not going to explain the joke. I'm going to leave this for a second. Stakeholder map. What is it? In theory-wise, basically it's a tool to help understand at what phase what users are interested in, sort of categorize them. This is the whole map that we made, and this is the key to the map to understand which is what post node. So let's move on. So core audience for this, our solid, firstly being families, then partners and cohibitants, and lastly career-focused folks. And as you can see down in here, white means users. Then moving on to the internal stakeholders, funny enough, it's pets. We understood that it's pets, and orange means that it is other parties affected by our product. And moving on to external stakeholders, on this side of other parties affected by our product, firstly being neighbors, then homeowners association, then being employers, landlords, and competitors. Then if we look from the side of other parties influenced by our product, firstly being also competitors, then Play Store and App Store. And lastly, providers and suppliers for our product, firstly Cloudflare as infrastructure and AWS for backend infrastructure. Yeah. And now Service Blueprint.
Now, our service blueprint, just like a recap of what it is supposed to be doing, it's supposed to be a visual aid for how your service works, specifically from the user's perspective. And that's all that it should be doing in a clear and concise manner graphically. And this is ours. First, we started off with the user level, mapping out what, for our first version of our product, the bare minimum, how the user would navigate across the product through our many functionalities, many options, many pages. Then we also took an additional step and mapped out how our infrastructure would facilitate that. We took AWS as an example, and for those of you that are into tech, we have considered Firebase as well. We took AWS as an example and mapped its services, how they would relate to one another for the app. And then lastly, also how company internal development processes would work generally. Now, one thing to note is that we are both using AWS Amplify and an API for the desktop, which means that we have both ability to run on the App Store or the Google Play Store, as well as simply on the web, on your PC, Mac, whatever. Then we created a customer journey. And Jaakos will tell you more about that.
First of all, this is the Guido's solid journey, and first of all, it's easier than it looks. It was actually kind of pain to fill out all of those squares. Yeah, through each one of the bold text, we added like a subtitle where we elaborated what we needed to write there. Unfortunately, I didn't put that into the presentation, but the main pain points from this journey is that there's a reduced visibility of tech in advertising, meaning that not so many of our core audience uses social media. Parents may be afraid of tech. That's with elaboration of with age, they're more scared of technologies. And lastly, it could be difficult to convince family to use, meaning that it could be difficult to communicate with the children and cohabitants that they should use it as well to increase their lifestyle. Yeah. And based on the Guido's journey, we made this pain map or also service journey. And with red, there's this part where we can improve or reduce time. So basically, we calculated through all this process, it's around 2 hours, and we could minimize it to 1 hour 20, minimum. Yeah. And in summary, firstly, new findings. Apparently, we do have a competitor, and it's called Family Wall. It's an app that simplifies everyday life for a family. Sort of on the lines what we do, but we understood that if there's a market, there's something to do, and it's not really the same that we do. So yeah. And Carly, what else?
Certainly. Then we also have come to know that social media marketing might be ineffective, test pending, but we hypothesize, because our target audience generally does not use social media except Facebook. So social media marketing, that's the more modern type. For example, on Instagram Reels may not work, but some banner ads might. Then AWS might be too complicated and expensive. There may be too much overhead. So Firebase may be a better option, or maybe even completely from the ground up using our own configurations and servers and stuff. Might be a lot cheaper. And most importantly, we now have a fairly good understanding of our concept for our product, and which was our main goal during this unit. And I'd say that we are fairly satisfied. So next steps.
Lastly, our next steps with this project, it's a solid project. In summary, it's like do just black testing. But firstly, us ourselves, we have to test our that family wall app in premium version. Secondly, ask if Guido, fourth course mentor, who leads developing by experimenting, would like to try and test family wall, and throughout all that make version 1 of solid, not MVP but version 1, and after that give out version 1 for testing, and lastly conduct what they felt, what is needed, and yeah, as Carlos said in the first slides, provide the solution and then you implement feedback. Reflections from my side, if I can add a joke, it's that I love this course so much that I shaved my hair. But no, it was really needed course for our project to understand whether or not we're even mentally capable of going through with this project, this idea, and so far I'm at least looking positive, and I'm thinking of making this project. Yeah. How about you, Carl?
Yeah. Key reflection. Just a tiny little thing. Do market research before you start thinking about the product. Just a little, note. Otherwise, you might waste a lot of time. But even though we did find a competitor, there is still hope because the app is quite old. It may be improved over time, but it is very simple, and it may be a little bit dated even. So it's definitely worth it to try, anyways. So even though our motivation went down for a little bit, we sucked it up and we continued. So yeah, do your market research beforehand. Yeah, and thank you. Time for Prime Minister's question time.
I want to do a quick shot. Sorry, can you pass the microphone right now? Like, it's always do that. Thank you. Wait, hold up. It's like Nokia, bro. You know? Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Enjoyed the humor, which is always good. And I guess you shaved your head because you was annoyed to kind of keep plucking out them during the project, right? Pulling them out. If you kind of extend the pun line. There's a few comments. I actually like the design as well. It's like everything black and then just only the focus on presentation where needed to be focused, and that's really good. That's solid in this case. Regarding the stakeholders, there's this extended family that was kind of missing. Basically, because you still have your grandparents or people maybe who are kind of not living in your city. Was it kind of included into the family, or because there's always like extended family, some branches somewhere.
Okay.
Because you put it in pets, and I was wondering where's your second or third or which kind of grandma somewhere in there.
Cohabitants.
Okay, but because I'm not living with my family.
Yeah.
So that's you kind of felt that you missed out on stakeholders. The family, I have a family mostly in Latvia, in Ventspils, and like in Kuldīga, and I have in many other places. And I'm just thinking, is it still kind of there in stakeholder map, or they're just completely out, as in strangers?
No, that's a good point. We didn't actually think about that. They might be considered an external stakeholder. Yeah. Well, yeah, we didn't think about it, I guess. Yeah. But again, the impact might be fairly small unless we are thinking about extreme scenarios like you go broke, so you need to go live with your grandparents now. But I'd say that the impact might be minimal. Maybe you get to spend a little bit more time with them.
It depends on the culture, because if you go more into like Spain or somewhere else, the family keeps strong holds in even if you're living somewhere else. So it's kind of, in Latvia it's more like independent, but somewhere else it could be extended family, could be almost like still living there and controlling basically the children till up to maybe 40 years of their life. So it's kind of just something to consider in this case, because I kind of was missing. I saw the pets, I get that one, but yeah. A persona, that was just kind of idea. These control freak moms and dads, probably they would be like it's also called like helicopter moms. Basically those who are over parenting, probably they would be the ones who would be the first like this wanting to go to actually do the prototyping.
We actually considered something in between. We did add a scenario that Guido Sr. is concerned about his son, Guido Jr., spending way too much time on video games. So we did consider adding a feature to evaluate that you could block essentially Guido Jr.'s devices until, except for the Solid app, until
he cleans
all the
the house
tasks
or
are
something,
complete.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a different approach, because it's kind of not to kind of trying to control your kid that he doesn't waste a life, or other ones who controlling all the aspects to make them successful as they could be. So it's kind of different approach of parenting as well. And I'm not sure if they're afraid of tech. I was more thinking afraid of learning curve, because that's probably typical, because how much I will have to invest in learning it. And what was minimized 1 hour 20? I couldn't figure that one out on whiteboard. What was that?
I can.
Because you stated kind of minimized something from 2 hours to 120, but what was that? I didn't get it.
Okay, so what was minimized is the amount of time spent going to the shop, at the shop, and back from the shop. So the idea is, I'm hungry. I go downstairs to check the fridge. Shoot, the fridge, it's empty. But I want some carbonade. So, you go to the store. And gosh darn it, when you come back, you forgot to buy the eggs. So you have to go back and you buy the eggs again. And then you come back. And at the end, you got 2 hours spent, a bunch of time wasted that you could have spent otherwise. Additionally, you could also be a lot more efficient just with that time. So that, for example, when your partner decides at home, while you're at the store, that there's something else that needs to be bought, then you automatically can get that in the Solid app, in that to-do list, unlike in the Notes app, where people just write for themselves on their own mobile devices. So this would altogether save time from being wasted.
You have to consider one thing, because sometimes parents want to get away from their kids and they want to spend more time shopping.
That's an interesting point, yeah.
Because one, you will live with someone, the kid, for longer, so other one can kind of escape for a while. So it's kind of different approach there. But
good that we're speaking English, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was actually, until like a few seconds ago, I finally understood what we are talking about. Sorry. But I just forgot, because you never told actually, because I don't know family wall. And I'm also not so aware about your project, because I think you are already developing it before this course, yes. So actually I was missing like, what is this service about? But I finally understood, clear. Just in other cases, maybe you could a little bit elaborate about what actually it is, and in general, what problems or challenges. Yes, just.
Apparently it didn't manage it.
Okay.
Yes, somehow I didn't catch up.
Maybe some visual aids might help. Yeah.
Maybe. And then about personas, I think, yes, because you are going like one way, quite strict, even though you had 3 of them, mother, father, and child. But there can be different families, also about this tech use. Ones who are using, ones who are not using. So, and they are different personas and different user journeys for sure as well. So it will slightly change your product at the end. But otherwise, I loved your presentation, although I didn't understand the service. But you very clearly explained all the steps, and your blueprint was just beautiful, excellent. And I think, yeah, it's like a service course, the best presentation what I saw today. Like you did everything so like from the book. Yes, 32 seconds for somebody else
I
to
even
tell.
heard it was a gas like, oh, beautiful. when the blueprint
Yes.
came on.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments,
It's a pleasure
feedback?
to be here on stage. Yeah.
Move forward.
Okay.